Welcome to Like Pigs in Space, an arts and culture podcast. I'm Aaron Mason,
And I'm Max Mason.
and I think we'll start this week with some catch up because you got to see some interesting things this week, and
Yeah.
so I thought I might let you tell us what your favorites were or what you saw.
Yeah. So this last 3 days we were in Seattle trying to give it another chance because the first time we visited didn't have a great time. This time we had a much better time. But we got to see a very large Calder statue
Oh, good.
that I was really glad to see. I'd seen a couple photos where it was kind of fenced off.
Okay.
But they didn't have any fences around it this time. So we got to like walk up underneath it and walk all around it, see all the different angles.
What was how does it feel to be near it? Did you have any sense of anything?
I think
Being
I had a
able to-
lot of sense of like motion with this one.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it wanted you to walk around it in a certain way,
Oh, cool.
which was interesting.
Yeah.
Another part of it that I don't know if it was Calder's instruction or something, but there's a bunch of chairs in front of it that are the same color as the sculpture. There's like 20 or 30 chairs, but they're all facing away from it.
Oh,
And so it felt like it was part of it
yeah.
in a way. Maybe you're supposed to sit there and kind of feel the sculpture from behind.
That could be. It's he imbued it with the soul of a ancient eagle
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. I mean, and it faces, into the Puget Sound there. Which
Okay.
is pretty to look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, the exact same color as a sculpture.
Maybe
it did
that's the
feel
point.
good too.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
I touched it, and
Oh, cool.
even though there's a lot of signs that said not to touch it.
I wonder if it's, hey, this is a huge thing. Come see it, and then here's chairs to see. Turn away from this because nature is even better.
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. So it's not a statue. It's stabile.
Stabile.
Yeah, stabile, like a mobile, stabile. Yeah, that's fun.
But that sculpture park has a lot of very cool pieces.
Okay.
They had this tree that looks like it's just a big metallic tree, but you get closer and it's a bunch of like piping that you can see
cool.
it all, welded together, just like thousands of pieces of it. That was really cool.
Yeah.
There's the Richard Serra sculpture with the waves, I think is what it was called.
Okay.
Super fun. There was one called Love and Loss that it was like a little pool table thing, and then a separate table and a tree and some benches that had white painted on them. So like certain angles you could sit and see it. It says love one way, it says lost the other way.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was really cool, and Chloe really liked that one. Stood there for a while.
Were there any oversized sculptures that were very polished and look like normal objects but supersized?
Not really. There was one
Okay.
where it was a face.
Okay.
It was like stretched out really tall,
yeah.
and it was also like 15 20 feet tall.
Oh, cool.
That was, I think it was supposed to be Echo, like the Greek story.
Gotcha. I was wondering if they had an Oldenburg there because
They had one, and I don't remember who made it, but it was this like concrete looking bench with a steel like a pool chair. You know how those like plastic pool chairs look?
yeah.
But it was made out of metal, and then a little banker box that was also made out of metal, and that was the whole sculpture there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's neat stuff. It's always fun to come across cool sculptures. We went to, of all places, St. Louis, but just kind of south of St. Louis, there's another town that has a sculpture park.
Oh yeah.
And like oh, cool. I didn't know this was here. And we're walking around and got to see neat stuff.
Yeah.
You're looking across. It's funny because one part you're looking across this field going, oh, they have deer. And you're like, oh, wait, there's people next to it and they're really tiny. So it's, oh, it's a sculpture.
Yeah.
But it's far enough away that it looks like, oh, are those deer? And, no, okay. So
Yeah.
that's that part's fun.
Yeah. Then we are also went up to the college, University of Washington, I think it's what it
Sure.
was.
Maybe.
And they had a James Turrell installation,
Oh, cool.
which is very good. I feel like you have to kind of sit there for a while and just stare at it, and it was really effective.
Yeah.
What was funny though is that it's at the Henry Art Gallery, which is like the art gallery on campus there.
Yeah.
And we walked around a little bit more of it, and it wasn't very good.
Oh no.
I think it might have been more impactful, but there were some interesting ones. Like there was this one that was a doorway that was built to like represent this person's childhood in Taiwan, I think. But
Okay.
he'd also programmed these lights at the bottom of it that make it look like there's people walking behind the door.
That's cool.
And that was pretty cool. I did like that one. It was kind of hard to see it if it was moving. Like it was maybe the room was just too bright or something.
Yeah.
But there was other ones where it was all this person's like family photos from I think Vietnam,
Okay.
and they had a little TV playing family videos too that would just like randomly put together. But then they had these like really bad CGI models like superimposed into it
Oh.
that didn't make any sense. I was trying to get it and just wasn't.
That's interesting. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, and they were all naked too, which was weird because there was like family videos. So I had like,
Oh.
and then the other one was this room that was kind of closed off, that was playing a video, and as we walked in, there was a caption that said like, "This is a song for decomposition," and I just kind of felt like, oh, I feel like there's going to be a dead body in this.
Yeah.
And so I walked
yeah.
over to the plaque and I pointed to Chloe's like, hey, it says viewer discretion is like graphic images and sanctioned violence. It's like,
Oh,
I think we
no.
should go.
Yeah.
So maybe
yeah.
it would have been good, but I think seeing like really great art earlier in the day maybe kind of
Yeah.
threw it off.
I think sometimes the modern art, when it's because we've been talking a lot about art, and so and what it means, and I think some of them, when there's whole installations that are meant to mean something,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm sure it's moving for a group of people, but it's maybe not overly skilled. It's just overly meaningful,
Yeah.
and it's hard to. I like to be happy and see beauty, and I know there's bad stuff that happens, but when I'm going out to look for art, I usually want to see happiness or at least skill. And so
Yeah.
walking through, like we were at the Phoenix Art Museum, and there was a Seurat, a full size one,
Mm.
and he's the guy that did the Seurat dot is
Yeah.
dots Seurat dot. But it was the big where they're on the river. There's it's a Victorian picnic, and they're on the river, and I've seen it forever, but this was the full size one,
Mm.
and it's massive. Like it is 15 feet high and 40 feet long. It's
Yeah.
amazing, and it's all little dots. That's hard to overcome. That's hard to tear yourself away from. So,
Yeah.
and filming violent decomposition is probably less of a pleasant day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
There was another part of it that, and we went to the cafe there because we were just super hungry and they like panini pressed our burrito and burned
Oh.
it. And so we were walking out. It's like, do you guys know anything about anything? stupid college kids.
Oh man,
Um,
that's really funny.
but there's another one that I kind of like peeked down on, and there's all this like paint splatter and some like text on the walls and these videos of like shadows moving around.
Yeah.
And maybe if you stared at it for long enough, it would have been something. But it reminded me of a scene in The Office where it's a Halloween party and Gabe is showing this like horror movie that he made. That's just like super upsetting and nothing makes sense. And he's
Oh no.
like interesting. Maybe the director knew that even the idea of a narrative is comforting.
That's funny. It's so mean. Oh my goodness. Well, on that note, I will start veering in towards kind of this week.
Okay.
Just I'm trying to. Well, my idea here is when you see stuff about the early '80s, and I'm like the very early '80s, so pre '84, maybe even earlier.
hmm
What is your impression of what it looked like back then?
I think it was still feel maybe a little bit of remnant from like the 70s, so a little more, it feels like more natural in a way, like
Okay,
more muted colors and
that's interesting because that's the exact opposite.
really.
Yes. So uh, the early '80s and into the '80s was we had come out of the '70s, which was an austere period where there was uh, hikes in oil, and there was
Mm,
like between just for an example in cinema. So
yeah.
'50s were idealized America. '60s began with still some idealized but a little edgier, and they ended with still pretty upbeat stuff. But it got into '70s and it got raw and hard, uh, vicious cinema, like some landmark stuff.
hmm
There's a good reason, or it was the kind of environment that developed like The Godfather and
Okay.
Apocalypse Now and those kind of movies where they really addressed the unpleasantness. Taxi Driver, all those were around in the '70s, and it's also when punk started uh,
Yeah.
in earnest, and heavy metal and just heavier music. Also disco, but you know,
Yeah.
and so, but I think that's also a nod to the fact that R&B got a little bit bigger, uh, moved away from just the doo-wop and you know um, those kind of more safe type of I don't know, kind of sterilized Motown,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it moved to the more funky and more different cultures, and so and some more experimentation.
hmm
But we in the '80s, and just to bring you into what it was and kind of explain how it was.
Is
It was
that
very. Huh?
is that
Oh, and
thunder?
it is. We're having a rainstorm. I just saw lightning, and so we may be having some loud noises. We're having a good storm's coming. It's supposed to last through tomorrow.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm in a mood for this this piece anyway. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah, so that's good. But so it was very exaggerated time period.
Mm,
Neon was huge.
yeah.
So we had neon, we had hair bands, we
Yeah.
had shoulder pads in all of our coats and jackets. We had big hair and obnoxious makeup, and uh, even if you were a punk band, it was still in your face. It was the like the punk of today is way more musical than the punk of the late '70s, early '80s.
Yeah.
And so everything was kind of all out. Plus, it was it was really interesting. And I think about this often. We got to the 80s and there'd been so much, we'd had rock and roll for a little bit. We'd had
Mm-hmm.
not classical music, not big band, but rock and roll and pop music for a couple of like 3 decades already. So if we 50s, 60s, 70s
Yeah.
could be grouped together, right? And so we had the influx of electronic music. That's
Mm.
when somewhere in the 80s there we got people who for the first time had recorded, mixed, and issued music digitally.
Mm.
So we had
Yeah.
CDs. When you'd buy a CD, it would tell you if it was, it would say like AD, so analog recording digital
Oh,
transfer,
interesting.
or they'd say ADD, or they'd say AAD. I think is how it went. So it's like it could be analog recording, analog transfer, digital format.
Hmm.
But then you get 3Ds, and that means digitally recorded, digitally mastered or transferred, and digitally
Yeah.
issued.
Huh.
So yeah, and that was what was on CDs. And so there was whole bands or lots of bands that were mostly synthesizers.
Yeah. Was there like any fighting between or like discourse between like, oh, this is AAD or AAD, it's better than DDD or
No, it was just, I think there is a transitional period because like now I think most recordings are completely digital from beginning to end
yeah.
as far as the recording process. It
Yeah.
was just a time when there's this whole transfer of everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, yeah, go ahead.
It just kind of reminds me of like how Rage Against the Machine records or like Audio Slave records will say like all sounds created by guitar,
Right,
bass, vocals, drums.
right, right. Which is really, yeah, they made a big deal of it, and I think there is more of a conflict between uh, synthesizer bands versus in quotes real instruments.
Hmm.
And also, it was interesting to hear about bands like New Order who
Yeah.
had to program their music.
Right.
They couldn't just go and use GarageBand. They had to actually figure out. They had to be programmers as well as musicians. So interesting time period.
Yeah.
But it was very colorful and related to this topic. What was really, really interesting is because this is going to play a big part of this is we didn't really, as kids, we didn't really understand what, this is going to be an awkward way of saying this. We didn't understand what gay looked like.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is in new wave music, which is kind of what this is going to relate to new wave music and some of that. We had a lot of bands that we grew up with that we really, really liked. That looking back now, it's blatantly obvious that they were overtly homosexual
Mhm. Yeah.
members doing this music with. And I think I'm going to adopt for this because it's related to the time period. I'm going to adopt the queer culture as the explanation or as the
Mm.
naming convention for this,
Okay.
just because that's the time period.
Yeah.
We didn't understand that. And it was in our faces because it was bright colors and there's all these bands with these pretty women that had male voices but could sing really good falsetto. And so they weren't pretty women. And but it was hard to tell because we had hair bands and they were wearing lots of makeup.
Yeah.
And we had new wave bands and they all wore makeup. And then there's another group in that called the new romantic. movement. And the New Romantics were very, very, very handsome men singing very a lot of romantic and nice songs. And then there's so just to categorize them, and to tell you some samples. So the New Romantics were groups like Duran Duran, which, so that is, I kind of was sorting these, and so New Romantics I called the Pretty Boys. So it's kind of like a boy band would be today, except for they had good music.
Yeah.
That may alienate some, but they weren't made up. They were an actual group that actually became a group on their own.
Yeah.
But they were very good looking and all this kind of stuff. And so Duran Duran and Spandau Ballet, and they sing ballads, and ABC was another one, and they're polished and put together, and they'd wear suits or just have nice hair or nice clothing, and sang very well. That was good.
Yeah.
And then there's the first wave of new wave, which was also part of the second British invasion. So the Beatles and the Stones was the first wave, first invasion. And then in the early 80s, all the great bands, it seemed.
Yeah.
Depeche Mode, New Order, Duran Duran. I think everyone I'm talking about today is British.
Wow. Yeah.
Pet Shop Boys. So that's the interesting thing, is it was a huge, like, they took new wave and just ran with it.
Yeah.
And I was reading a paper about this time period, and I don't know enough about the politics of it to give a valid opinion, but they tie the evolution, this arising of, so I'll read the name of it. It says, it's called New Romantic Queering Tactics of English Pop in Early Thatcherite Britain and the Second British Invasion. That's the name of the paper.
Okay.
So it's Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And that time period, the early 80s, we had the Reagan period at the same time. Both cultures were extremely prosperous and capitalistic and consumeristic and profitable, and all of that. That was kind of the forward feeling. It felt like we were coming out of a recession, and we were very wealthy.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like. The whole country as a whole now. And it was, because prices were still low, but we were starting to have great world success again. You know, we had left wars, and most of the 20th century had been periods of war, periods of recovery, and then recessions. And like, we had the Great Depression, we had the recession, all this stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And but the 80s were just, everything's wonderful, had a bunch of ability to just have fun, I guess, is what it was. If you look at like 80s popular movies, they're not serious at all. They're kind of goofy.
Yeah. And
we've been watching a few lately that were like, number one, how did you get away with saying what you just said? That was a head shake and a
yeah.
like, I'm glad we've grown up since then. But also just silly and cheesy and goofy, and it's fun, but it's not. It seems like there's a lot more seriousness today, and there's still fun and there's still comedy, but even comedy today is tinged by the politics of the day and the pressures of today, and all, you know, we have, like, you covered Bo Burnham and his comedy special that was, for all intents and purposes, not very funny at all.
Right.
very important, very well done from a, you know, intelligent, all of that, but it was heavy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the comedy today has a heavy side to it. Now there's some that's just silly, but everything was silly back then. It felt like, and goofy, and maybe some racist and some insensitivity, and we all laughed at everything and didn't care, or weren't aware that we should care as much.
Right.
So, does that make more sense?
Yeah.
So, why I bring that up? So, a band like Culture Club, you know them?
I have heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. So, Culture Club has
my boss just talked about them. Is that the Karma Chameleon?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's the one. And Boy George.
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw the cover of their first album or any of their videos, you understood why he called himself Boy George, because he had to make that very clear, because it was not very clear.
Yeah.
And we all just saw it, and it didn't impact anything. And I'm sure that there was parents who saw it and realized, or saw it for what it was, but none of us. I am amazed at how oblivious we were. And and I'm sure we had the lingo in our vocabulary to express that something was associated with the queer community. I'm sure we had that. I mean, everybody could say gay, right? And that was in the vocabulary, but it didn't seem to have. I mean, it was, of course, a lot of times it was derogatory, which is not great. But we didn't know that what we were looking at was that.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at how oblivious we were. And it's just weird. I just trying to create that picture so you could understand how this came to be.
Yeah. It's easy for people to pass as just being part of being from the 80s and not that really identifying as or being identifiable as gay,
right,
or as queer in any way.
Right. And I think it's because everybody had too much makeup and too bright of clothing. And so, that's the other part, is it's just like it was just, everything was so much. And it's a time of excess, and that's what this thing mentions. It says the happenings in British pop were matched as a response to Thatcherism. I don't know what that means, but it says with a move towards style culture. In fact, the gendered ambiguity of the New Romantics and the mod revival said it provided a critique of Thatcher's vision of Britain. And I think it was, so it's that gendered ambiguity. So where that started was in the 70s. But with a very specific person who's not who I'm talking about, but is important to this whole discussion. So the gender ambiguity really, really is embodied in David Bowie.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And his group of friends, let's say, from the 60s when they were starting out.
Yeah.
They were very aware of who they were back then, and very aware that they had a message and whatever that message was. I've seen early footage of him and like, well, our hair is this way because, and they knew that they were wearing their hair a certain way. And so he was really aware of how fashion, how a look, how certain elements of that meant something, probably more than anybody of that time period.
Yeah.
And he continued to.
Right.
Like that never let up. He always knew what he was doing. In fact, I heard that, what is the band? Were you mentioning, or was it somebody else? the last album that he did.
Yeah. Was partially inspired by Death Grips.
Right,
Well,
Death Grips. So, yeah, you were mentioning that, and so you could see that he never let up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was challenging all of that, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really interesting. And then it says the and it says in this piece, it says the stylistic notion of white British soul boy was originally constructed by David Bowie. Coming across like a young and androgynous Katharine Hepburn, for Bowie, this was very much an act of taking the subversive sexual referencing of glam rock androgyny a step further and creating a blueprint for the white soul boy movement in London clubland. This and then this transatlantic musical package was christened by Bowie as Plastic Soul.
Oh, interesting.
So that step forward that he created by who he was, and it's interesting because he came up with the idea. It says he said the hit from his album Young Americans. It was the utopian promise of young England being half English and the other half being young American. So seeing that the American influence was so large that they had their English roots, but they also were half of their personality was American. It says, and he explained, this person explained as stylized, slick, expensive, and fake, simultaneously nostalgic and forward looking.
Yeah.
So, which is
that is interesting.
Yeah.
We listen to Hunky Dory pretty often.
Okay.
Because Chloe really likes that, and there's a lot of the songs that like there were some I can't remember hearing this. I'm sure I've never heard this song before, but it already feels nostalgic.
Yeah.
Even in his music, he's had that built into it.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the, you get the stylized and slick, but the expensive and fake is also kind of interesting. Like that's that plastic soul thing. Like I have soul and I understand the music and I understand what I'm doing, but I'm also faking it. And I'm also understand that it doesn't really mean anything, but it means everything. And I think all of that's kind of embodied in that.
Isn't he like the only white person to ever be on Soul Train?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Theme. Yeah. And well deserved.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've discussed, and maybe in the wrong order, but David Bowie started a certain look.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was interesting in the 80s, I don't know, every album or two, he'd change his look, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
And he definitely was, I don't know if he made, if he defined the look of the 80s or if he just reflected it, but who cares? He did both, right?
Yeah.
Because he started us on the path, so whatever happened it doesn't really matter. Now, so we have several things going here. We have the changes that Bowie encouraged with his kind of glam rock. It was a transition from glam rock, so glam rock and this androgyny and this, new kind of way of thinking about things and kind of spacey and all this. And then we also have new wave, but somewhere in the middle of all that was the avant-garde. And avant-garde's not new, but there is a definite rise or very distinguished avant-garde music being created.
Yeah.
So, just to define avant-garde, it refers to new, experimental, and innovative concepts in art, culture, and other fields. It literally means advance guard or vanguard, and is used for works that are aesthetically different from the mainstream and initially challenge or are unacceptable to the establishment. In the arts, avant-garde describes a group of artists or a specific work that pushes boundaries and creates new ideas or styles that are often considered unusual at first.
Hmm.
So, this artist that I want to talk about is avant-garde all the way.
Nice.
And normally, and I am going to cover, it's going to kind of be different than how we've done than, yes, I'll mention a album, but
Yeah.
for reasons that will become clear, going through the lyrics of the album is not probably the best way to talk about it, because a lot of times there's not a lot of lyrics, and a lot of times it's just a cover of a different song, or the lyrics are just nonsense. So it's not really deep lyrically, but it's fantastic anyway.
Yeah.
So one group that actually predates this artist and is actually quite different from this artist is Devo. So
Yeah.
Devo is all the way an avant-garde band, but and they started in, I didn't realize this, 1973.
Wow.
And so they had a documentary come out about Devo, and much like Bowie, they were very aware of who they were and very dedicated to their message, whatever that happened to be.
Right.
They were very dedicated. I once heard somebody, this was probably 20 years ago. There was a club, I think it was called the Mason Jar. I think that's the one they were talking about. Anyways, it's in Phoenix.
Okay.
And they'd had bands it was one of the big clubs in Phoenix that would have bands come through. And this guy had managed it for years, or he was the owner or something. And they were on the station, like, what's the most amazing band? What was the best performance you ever saw? And he goes, it's like, you know what? It's Devo. And they're like, really? And like, yeah, those guys came in and it was 45 minutes of straight madness and rock. and then it was done. And you're like, what just happened? And they just did this. They just came in. Everything was just how they wanted it. They were in weird clothing, and it was just a 45-minute powerhouse performance done. And then they were out. And it's like, it was unreal. You just didn't know what you'd just seen, but you were just amazed by it. So definitely had a voice. This artist, I'm going to kind of tell you about. I won't name them quite yet, but
okay.
They were born in 1944. So they were a German countertenor and baritone, noted for their wide vocal range and an unusual otherworldly stage persona. They were born in Bavaria, Germany. There was some born there, raised by a single mother, fled the Rhine province during World War II bombing, and so grew up in different places. Went to West Berlin to study at the university. He trained as a baritone because they did not offer countertenor courses. But is known for having a 6-octave vocal range.
Jeez.
And also came to, at the time, didn't believe earning a living on musical career was feasible, and took an apprenticeship as a pastry chef and worked at the Dutch Opera, where they would sing for their co-workers after the performances. And then they immigrated to New York City in 1972 and appeared in some off-Broadway stuff and some satirical camp production appeared in a satirical camp production of Richard Wagner's Das Rheingold. So do you know what a camp production means?
Kind of like jokey and...
Well, campy.
Campy.
So describes something exaggerated, theatrical, amusingly artificial, often to the point of being over the top or even so bad it's good.
Okay.
So, often associated with the queer movement as well, because like drag is camp all the way, right?
Yeah.
Drag is campy because it's over the top, so bad it's good, all that kind of stuff. So, and then came to the East Village to perform in the New Wave Vaudeville, and had sang the aria Mon Coeur Sauveur. It's My Heart Opens to Your Voice by Camille Saint-Saëns from the opera Samson and Delilah. And
Okay.
the performance ended, which is on the first album. This aria is
Oh,
the closing song of the first album. So they were dressed in a skin-tight spacesuit with a clear plastic cape, sang the aria very well, I might add. And the performance ended with a chaotic crash of strobe lights, smoke bombs, and loud electronic sound effects as they backed away into the smoke.
wow.
So good, good performance.
Right.
And so in let's see, where was it? In 1981, they released their self-titled debut album, and it's called Klaus Nomi. So have you ever heard of Klaus Nomi?
Haven't because I
Okay.
feel like I've heard that history before.
Okay.
But didn't know the name at all.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that let me see where it happened. And there's some very interesting things that happened to him. But in 1979, Nomi and their co-partner in crime, whatever, a person named I think it's Johnny Arias or something. They were co-writers or performers or whatever. They were introduced to David Bowie, and then he
Okay.
hired them as performers and backing singers for his appearance on Saturday Night Live in December 1979.
Oh. Okay.
So there is footage of this person. Well, there are actually lots of footage because there's some movies and stuff that they're in. There's a 1981 rock documentary film called Erg, A Music War, that features their performance of Total Eclipse, a song that he wrote or does on the first album. Also, during that time period, he associated with a bunch of people. Let me see where it was, including he started assembling up and coming models, singers, artists, musicians to help perform with him.
Yeah.
One of them was Keith Haring,
Hmm.
the New York City graffiti artist with the, funny
The
people,
people. Yeah.
the people, but also was briefly involved with Jean-Michel Basquiat, who's one of the most successful street artists of all time.
Yeah.
So that's just interesting. It's a very New York story.
Yeah.
So, Nomi sings with a very, very heavy German accent.
Okay.
And is very distinct, and it's just kind of pretty brilliant. The whole thing
Yeah.
does a lot of cover songs, and so the first album is kind of a grab bag.
Okay.
Only has 2 albums, but the first one has like 2 or 3 covers, let's say,
Yeah.
of older songs that he does. The one that you'll have to listen to the whole album, but the one that is how does it go? It's Lightning Strikes, and then there's You Don't Own Me, and then he does the twist, which is that do the twist like we did last summer, the Chubby Checker song. Only it's super, super, super slow and atmospheric, and you'd never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lightning Strikes is the funniest one because he goes, because it goes kind of every boy wants a girl, but he goes, When I see lips waiting to be kissed, I can't stop. I can't stop myself. And then it goes into light, but it goes way up, super falsetto. It says lightning strikes again and again, but super high.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. And then closes the album with Samson and Delilah aria with all those effects at the end.
Wow.
And it's just, there's nothing very deep and meaningful about the lyrics for the most part.
Yeah.
But the music's fantastic, and the vocals are just out of this world, and just it's the strangest, oddest, weirdest, most amazing thing that you'd ever want to experience.
Yeah.
And to have a mixture of old standards and new weird songs and arias from Camille Saint-Saëns, and it's a grab bag of all of Klaus Nomi's talents,
Yeah.
just laid out.
Cool.
While researching this, I also listened to their second album, and the second one is full of bangers. I gotta tell you, it's so good. Yeah, this one is interesting because it just introduces you to everything that Klaus Nomi can do. The second album is called Simple Man from 1982.
Yeah.
And it has so many good songs. Not the least of which is his cover of Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead.
Oh, really?
That's absolutely, it's absolutely brilliant.
Wow.
And then there's also this one called Rubber Band Laser. I'm sorry.
Nice.
You know that song that's it's from the 80s, like I want to be a cowboy and you can be my cowgirl. Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a electronic pop song, but it has like that cowboy edge to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Rubber Band Laser is. It's like a hick country song, except for it's a pop disco techno song.
Yeah.
It's so good. I'm sitting there listening to this whole thing going, this is unreal. But there's really, it dances.
Wow.
I think there's a few remixes of this whole album. And it's just amazing. There's also some classical music. It says there's the song Death from Dido and Aeneas. So he does a little bit of opera on it, but there's another song called I See You, Are You Okay? Are Okay? I See You, Are Okay? I See You, Are Okay is how you is how you say it. Because I thought it was I See You Rock, but then he's like, I see you are okay.
Yeah.
And it's the funniest song. All of them, like the whole middle of the album is just the best music. And one super fun, upbeat dance song after another. So, and actually there's one called Falling in Love Again from 1930.
Whoa.
That he covers too. So,
yeah,
just great.
Great.
And entertaining as heck. So that's kind of, but on this first one, his first self-titled album, it's wild, and it really shows the range. But he used to wear this big, so the other thing that he was known for was how he looked. So he had this big triangle shaped like tuxedo thing. So it's a big white triangle shirt with a big oversized bow tie, black and white, with big huge square shoulders that came down to a like over exaggerated picture of a 1980s this is a man. So there's the triangle with the feet, and that's the guy. And but then he also would wear his hair. He had a receding hairline, so he had his hair spiked up, and then like super white makeup, and then super bright lips, so it accentuated his receding hairline.
Nice.
And he was known for that.
Yeah.
And so if it was if he was there, he was looking wild. He adopted a persona.
Nice.
And so it's just, it was a significant character. And the reason also that we don't know, most people don't know him, is because of those 2 albums, that's it. There's only those 2 albums because he is one of the first people in pop culture to die of AIDS
Oh.
in 1983.
Oh, wow.
So very early on, his high collar and all this was covering a lot of the scars he was getting from some of the symptoms of AIDS. So
Oh.
it makes lesions on your
Mhm.
skin, and so he would still go out and do these things, but it was, his body started to fail in early 83, and he died in August of 83. So
okay.
yeah, so that's why it just kind of it kind of fell off of everything, but it was a big influence. And so, and what I mean by that is the ones that kind of come right after. So it's there's Klaus Nomi, and it's great, and you need to go listen to it.
Yeah.
I was writing down dates of activity for all these bands that are kind of new romantic, new wave.
Right.
And so I have them divided up. So there's the first wave, but there's also the new romantics. So the new romantics are Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet. They started 78, 79 and didn't wear heavy makeup.
Okay.
And then Pet Shop Boys and Depeche Mode kind of also heavy electronics,
Right.
but not so much makeup. They had their own thing kind of, and Depeche Mode, of course, is more goth, kind of depressing music.
Yeah.
But Pet Shop Boys are very representative of a upbeat, dancey, queer positive kind of lifestyle.
Right.
Probably more obvious, but even then, when they came out, I was a big fan. Didn't know.
Yeah.
And people just didn't say either. But then the first wave of this was Culture Club, Adamant, and Klaus Nomi. And
Yeah.
have you heard of Adam and the Ants or Adamant?
I think I've heard the name. I don't know much at all, though.
Yeah. So his deal, also lots of makeup, but he looked, he dressed kind of like a swashbuckling pirate,
Okay.
but in the 80s. So kind of
Uh-huh.
like an alternative future,
Nice.
but was less club and more rock.
Oh, okay.
So he's more in a rock new wave than these other ones. So the next group, and which I think this group is the natural inheritors of Klaus Nomi, and even more than Culture Club. But the main bands are Erasure, Bronski Beat, and the Communards, because and Yaz to some degree,
Okay.
because all those bands are characterized by lots of electronic music, very club feel,
Yeah.
very a great use of falsetto singing.
Yeah.
Now, very high voices, but not like weird falsetto, not like screaming falsetto, but also have very wide vocal ranges, multi-octave vocal ranges, and sing
Right.
very well. And now that we're a little bit more aware, we're blatantly and obviously gay, but we didn't know it. But they're
Yeah.
like 83, 85, that era,
Okay.
to the rest of to the end of the 80s.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it kind of started to be a group of more people that were more comfortable with it. And the guy from Erasure used to, when we heard tale of their concerts, used to come on and in a pink rubber tutu and say, "When I was a little girl,"
Yeah.
and still we didn't think any.
Right.
Talk about how oblivious we were. We kind of started guessing then, but
Yeah.
uh, it's just funny. And I'm sure a lot of it was hidden because of, they speak of it with Thatcher had created some of the first anti-gay laws in like 60 years in Britain when she was in there.
Yeah.
And, it was oppressed and AIDS was thought of as this curse on the gays and, just not very inviting. So I'm sure that it wasn't overtly talked about, but it was very much there. And
Right.
now that we look back, we're like, oh, we should have seen better. Not that it would have changed. We still like the music. These are some of my favorite bands to listen to. I just felt like I think more people need to know about Klaus Nomi, and
Yeah.
very talented guy. So,
Yeah. It sounds really good. Sounds really fun.
yeah, I was driving home from El Paso at night. I was really trying to think about what I wanted to cover, and I had a few different directions. And I was listening to, and actually, it's kind of funny. I'm trying to think of how it all came about. I was listening to Phoebe Bridger,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of some music that I could cover because I was debating between that and maybe I don't know. I remembered something, and that led to Klaus Nomi, and I started thinking about how I felt about that time period, how I felt about. Oh, and I forgot Dead or Alive was another one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like that guy was the most pretty woman,
Right.
but had this deep voice, like, and so it was always very like, I don't know why we didn't understand what we were watching. But anyway, I was driving, I was like, oh, I'm going to put this on and see if this, and I just was having the best time driving across the desert, singing along with Klaus Nomi.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be good to share, good to kind of understand what queer culture has gone through, how much it was adopted in that era of New York, how much it
Right.
was kind of an obvious, common, and celebrated but not openly celebrated lifestyle. Because it really was still, there's whole sections of the city, whole clubs, whole everything that were devoted to this, but devoted to gay shows, whatever, but it was
Yeah.
still hidden,
Oh, yeah.
which
Right.
which is kind of funny because it was the worst kept secret, right?
Mhm.
And it's just kind of always interested me to how much of an impact all this had on me. And while I'm still simultaneously at this time in my life, and I was thinking about another band, and they may come up, but I was thinking at the same period of time, I was listening to Fishbone, Billy Bragg, Bronski Beat, Duran Duran, Pet Shop Boys, Depeche Mode, like
Yeah.
none of those go to, and Guns N' Roses and The Doors. Like
Right.
that was, all of those were my playlist, and Peter, Paul and Mary, like, and the Beach Boys. Like none of that goes together,
Yeah.
but I love all of those. And it's a good to know all of these influences that are making up who you are. And so I thought the kind of the diversity of influences of Phoebe Bridgers kind of probably led to this.
Yeah.
and
Nice.
and it was interesting to hear you not know that the early 80s were obnoxiously bright and overly
Yeah.
colorful.
I guess I mean, I know that the 80s were colorful. I just didn't know if it was specifically from the very beginning.
Yeah, and lots of makeup. That was the funny part. A lot of electronic music and a lot of makeup, and I think was symbolic of all of these. So like, and that is kind of the difference. So Devo has synthesizers, but they
Yeah.
also have instruments. And Adamant was all still guitar and drums and all that, not and horns, like like a horn section.
Nice.
But a lot of these ones like Depeche Mode and New Order and Erasure and Howard Jones and
Yeah.
very much electronic, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cool.
yeah,
It sounds like it is the origins or maybe part of the building blocks for what like Sophie would become.
yes, yeah, very much so. Very much draws a line from the electronic side, right?
Yeah.
And then all of them kind of being in the club scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very much, very much.
Nice.
That's the other person that should have, and, and the character they adopted, right? The look, and a very distinct look. And so anybody that's kind of adopting that look and becoming that persona, could attribute a lot of that to Klaus Nomi because he just kind of adopted this and went with it.
Nice.
So it's interesting. It's kind of tragic,
Yeah.
but we didn't know enough then.
Yeah.
And so these things happen. But
when he died, was it just like the reason known at the time, or was it just like, oh, he just died?
Yeah, like no, they knew.
Okay.
Took precautions that were unnecessary, like people that visited him had to wear a mask and couldn't touch him.
And
we know now that it's not how you get it.
How it works.
You can't get it through the air. You can't, get it from touching. It's blood related. So,
yeah.
But they didn't know. And so there's a overabundance of caution. And it was 83 was late enough that it was very much known and very much the boogeyman.
Yeah.
By that time.
That was still a good while before like Freddie Mercury died too.
Yeah. Exactly. And when did Freddie Mercury die? I thought it was the 90s. Oh, 91. But yeah, still much, especially for his he was worldwide outgoing.
Yeah.
And about the same age. He was born 46. Klaus Nomi is born 44. So
okay. Yeah.
So he did last longer, but still same thing happened, or similar things happened. So
yeah,
interesting the connection to David Bowie into the early 80s art movements in New York City and all that club scene and everything. So it's been neat to see, been neat to dive into it a little bit more. This was introduced, Klaus Nomi was introduced to me by Kim and Kareen.
Oh,
it was,
nice.
I think part of that was because I was thinking of another artist that I had listened to with Kim. Like both of us had found her separately.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to go into that, but then I thought, oh, there's this other one. And that's part of it too. Cause I think that's what it was. I just realized it's Phoebe Bridgers to Suzanne Vega to the origins of the MP3 to Klaus Nomi.
Nice.
There you go.
Cool.
There's a string through. So that's how it went.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I like that. 80s, 70s and 80s music is always been kind of hard for me to get into.
Yeah.
And maybe because it's hard. It always seems like it's hard to dig deep on a lot of it because a lot of the stuff that's very popular has been popular for 40 years.
Yes.
And sometimes is maybe a little fatiguing.
it can be, and that's why I've tried to do, because I had albums from different bands, but there was albums I didn't have, and so I go back and listen to whole albums.
Uh-huh.
Mostly, and I recommend this because in today we listen to songs. Most people listen to songs
Yeah.
because that's how things are marketed.
Right.
And while there were hit songs, the idea was to have a complete album in the probably from 90s all the way back. It's meant to be a complete album.
Yeah.
And then there was started to be offshoots of not complete albums but just hit songs. And you could have waste pieces in there. And so yeah,
I was watching something that I think another like big part of like that switch between albums and songs was like LimeWire.
Yeah.
Because you could just download the songs that you wanted illegally and not
Right.
have to buy the whole album.
Yeah, exactly. And now everybody can have their own private mixtape.
Yeah.
Whenever they want. So yeah, so I've been trying to make a point now and then of, I like this song. What's the album sound like?
Mm-hmm.
And finding gems, because there's a lot of things like we talked about with Diver Down. If you just listen to
Pretty Woman,
or Dancing in the Streets,
yeah,
and didn't listen to the album, you'd miss some really great stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And probably the songs that I've listened to more from the album are not those songs. They're the alternate, the additional songs that were kind of thrown in later.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. We were talking about that. Chloe and I on our way home from Seattle, we were listening to we listened to the first Phoebe Bridgers album.
Okay.
And Chloe was like, I feel like I understand Phoebe better now by listening to the whole album instead of just like a few songs here and there. I feel like I understand her more as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of just being like, hey, the popular songs are popular.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's fun. And on my trip there and back, I also finished last week's book.
Oh, good.
So I listened to it, and that was interesting. It was very, I think you covered it well, but there's still a lot to discover in the whole book.
Yeah.
So, including the end of it. The end of it's very interesting, and kind of how she talks about things.
Yeah.
So, but it is just, there's still too many questions.
Yeah. There's a lot.
So, anyway, that was good. But yeah, I hope you get to experience this. It is available on streaming or on music services worldwide. But
nice. Yeah.
I'd listen to the whole album because it's gonna be a surprise, and then when you want to go dancing, listen to the second album.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm excited. I'm gonna go listen to it.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go watch the storm continue and have a nice pajama rest of the day.
Nice. That'll be good. We haven't had. I guess we got pretty lucky because it was sunny the whole time in Seattle.
Yep.
Like it rained in the middle of the night, and that was it. And and now it's starting to get cloudy here. But
yeah, that's cool. I was also looking at when I pulled up the page to come here and start recording. It's kind of, I didn't expect this to last at the first, right? It was just going to be a fun thing. And now it's become a habit, which I really enjoy. And the fact that we've accumulated as much as we have, and it's a small amount, but it's still quite the volume of material.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad you suggested this. So
I think it's fun. I look at the views sometimes too, and it seems like people are watching or listening the whole way through.
Oh, good.
Which is good too. And
yeah,
we're not losing people halfway through for any reason. Yeah, I think it's going really well.
Do you think it's the schizophrenic nature of the subject matter?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's because you didn't, didn't say who you're talking about until 45 minutes in.
Yeah. Wait a second. What's going on? Yeah, I'm learning how to tell a story. It's Mr. Ballin. Have you seen that guy? He does strange, dark, and mysterious stories.
Oh, I think so. Does he have like a
Yeah,
backwards baseball cap? That
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
But he does these episodes because he'll do like true crime stuff or he'll do mysteries, but they're all true. They're
Yeah.
But he'll do these ones where he'll introduce somebody, and he'll tell the whole story about them and then tell you who they are at the end.
Hmm.
And they're fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this person, oh, they did that. Oh, they did. That's that's Brad Pitt. Like,
Right.
and so you go into it without this expectation. So
Nice.
I was kind of taking some cues from those things. But yeah, it's neat. It's been fun. So I'm glad it's still going.
Me too.
All right. Well, I guess thanks to everybody for listening if you are, and hopefully you get to have some fun experiencing the 6-octave voice of Klaus Nomi and do the first one. Understand it's kind of a mixed bag, and then go for the second ones because it's just full of bangers. So
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing.
yeah,
I'm excited. It's going to be good.
yeah. Thanks for sharing about your trip.
Yeah.
I love experiencing art, and it's always a good and enriching experience.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks.
Sounds good. See you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.